Recently, I made some pretty major improvements in the organization of my bike tools in my workshop, which is my garage, when I purchased these Cobalt toolboxes behind me. And I made a video on that. If you're interested in watching it, I'll link it below. The next and final phase of my garage organization is to organize my bikes. So between me and my family, we have 9 bikes, and keeping them organized in the garage is no easy feat. So I'll show my current setup, and then I'll talk about the plan to get them organized. This little bump out area is where I keep my bikes. So I have 4, 2 mountain bikes, a cross, and a gravel. And I usually just lean them up against my workbench or against this mud sink. I have this stand, which is plastic and is utterly worthless. When you put a bike in here, it's so flimsy it won't even hold a bike up. It'll fall over. So I just use it to keep the bikes from rolling around when I lean them up against my mud sink here. So if I have all 4 of my bikes here, I will probably put one in the work stand and then lean a couple against each other. But it's easy for them to kind of get bumped around and fall over. And then I have this stand, this kind of wall stand, that is also pretty worthless because it is so, you're supposed to bolt it against the wall, but even still, these little things, I've had to put some inner tubes underneath with some zip ties, because when you take a bike off, they'll just fall down. So I am so ready to get rid of this. I think I bought this for like 20 bucks off someone. So it has served its purpose, but it's time for this thing to go. And the best thing I have right now is this little bike rack thing, which you can put 3 bikes. They kind of will bump against each other, but this is still pretty good. So I'm going to keep this in the workshop, in the garage, and keep using this little bike stand. So I did some research and I landed on Feedback Sports. They make some pretty high quality stuff, and it seems that they are going to be the best option for bicycle storage. So I got 2 of these Scorpion stands just to hold the bike up, so I'm not leaning them against each other. And then I got this wall stand. So this seems to be really sturdy, and I'm not sure if I'm going to put it there or if I'm going to put it over in the corner. I'm going to try first over in that corner. If it doesn't fit there, then I'll put it right there. And I also got one, it's in the box, but this box is another wall mount. So this one actually mounts onto the wall. So wherever I don't end up putting this freestanding rack, I'll put this wall rack. So I took this one out of the box. This is the Velo Wall Rack 2D. So this just mounts onto a wall. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all this stuff together, and then we'll see how we can organize the bikes. My wife and my son are out riding their bikes right now, so maybe I can get this done by the time they get back. All right, so here's the finished product. I forgot that I had actually ordered 3 of these Scorpion stands, and these are really high quality. Like, they're so sturdy. What I'm gonna do is do a separate review on all of these Feedback Sports bike storage components. I'll do it all in one video. So I'm not going to really go into detail about the features of these, but I will say that there is a different size spindle depending on your bike. Like, for example, my mountain bike with a race face crankset has a smaller spindle than what goes inside the cranks of my gravel bike. So my trail bike's at work, but I have the stand for that one. And then I have my cyclocross bike on the wall over there. I'll walk over and show that in a minute. But what this does now is it gives me access to my mud sink, so I can just kind of walk up to my mud sink here. And my workbench, there's my son's bike that I'm shipping out, sold his old hardtail. And so now I have access to my workbench without the bikes leaning up against it. So it's really nice to not have to try to find a spot in the garage to lean the bikes, because every time I would go to use the workbench or go to use the mud sink, I would have to move the bike or reach over it. Just wasn't convenient. And the stand's open, so I used to keep a bike in that stand when I had all my bikes here. So on the wall over here, I've got the cyclocross bike hanging up. And again, I'll show the features of this, but this thing is super sturdy. So obviously I went into a stud, really easy to mount, just 2 screws and one at the top, one at the bottom. But again, check out the review that I'll do on this stuff So there's the cyclocross bike, and then over here, this stand is also very high quality, very sturdy. So I've got the bikes up there. It's my daughter's bike and my wife's bike. And then my son's 2 bikes. So yeah, much better. And like I said, you know, very sturdy stand. Just night and day quality difference between the other ones that I showed at the beginning of the video. So this feedback sports stuff is really good. So yeah, that's my setup now with bike storage. Like I said, just not leaning bikes against stuff has made it a lot easier. All right, so I'll close out this video. Again, check out the review that I'll do in more detail of these feedback sports stands. Thanks for watching.